Well, it happened on a Thursday. There was a big meeting at Elton John's house, and last week they picked me. No. I knew I was gay always. I never knew I wasn't gay, but I didn't know what gay was called. I knew that I was attracted to boys. I knew I was attracted to Alan Tavelman, who lived across the street. I knew that I just loved him and I wanted to be around him all the time. I knew when Randy Osepke's dad walked around in his underwear, I knew I liked that. And I used to have all these fantasies about people breaking into Randy's house, and then we'd all be at his house sleeping over, and they'd all get us, and it would be great. Things like that. But I never really equated being gay or queer or fag or any of the names that I was being called as a kid. I never equated that with my love for men. It never connected the dots for me because I saw that as being negative. But my feelings for, Alan Tavelman, the cute little blonde boy across the street, had nothing to do with the things that people were calling me. Well, that's a long process. I came out in the 30s, and it was very different in those days. I came out to, let's see, I guess first I came out to a couple friends when I was around 19 or 20 or 21, around that time. And the first time I actually came out to any human being, I was at the Suicide Prevention Center, and I was sitting in a swivel chair, and I remember I turned my back, and I told the psychiatrist or whoever it was that I was bisexual. And I thought, I would probably melt into the carpeting right at that moment. That's what I probably thought. It was so frightening to me. It was everything I didn't want to be. And that's the way it started. At the time, I thought I was going to the Suicide Prevention Center because I didn't have any money, because I was a kid and I was young and I was on my own. And I realized that I was suicidal, and that's how that started. Then I started telling my very close friends. I told Amanda, my first girlfriend, who became one of my close friends. And then I had a relationship with a guy named Frank, and I remember telling him that this is who I was, because I was having a relationship with him, but a very private relationship with him, very closeted. And I don't even know how to explain it to you youngsters, but at the time, everything was so separate. Sex was here, and who I was there. And being an actor, God, I didn't want anybody to know this, because it would ruin my entire career, and I'd never be able to work and do the passion that I had for being an actor at the time. And I remember walking around, me and Frank took a walk in my neighborhood, and I remember just being in tears, and he was so sweet to me. And I remember that moment. Even though I was so upset, there was such a large relief. But this was a long time ago, and the climate was very different than it is now. I remember I told my dad, and I thought he was going to adjust plots, and it was going to be over, and he was fine about it. And he got upset, I guess, years later when I started being famous for being gay. I remember, I think it was 1995, National Coming Out Day, the Los Angeles Times did a story on me. Openly gay comedian comes out. It's some sort of whole big kind of piece in the paper, and I was standing in front of the Laugh Factory, I remember. And I think my father at the time was the vice president of a necktie manufacturing company. So everybody would read the paper every day, and they'd pass around. And I said, Dad, how do you feel about this? It's going to come out. And he said, oh, they're not going to know it's me. I said, why? Well, he says, your name is Jason Stewart, and we have different last names, because I changed my name years ago when I was a kid. He said, they'll just think it was somebody else. And he said, he always used to say to me, because he lives in the Hollywood Hills, and he has some gay neighbors, Bob and Jim or something. He says, why can't you just be gay and shut up about it like Bob and Jim? They don't tell everyone they're gay. Why do you have to do it? And I said, Dad, because I'm making money doing it. Oh, okay, well, it's a good idea then. I told my mom when I was 24, we went into Beverly Hills and we had lunch. And I remember somehow I manipulated the conversation so I would turn it around. And she said, well, have you ever had sex with a man? I said, well, what do you mean? She says, well, what do you mean, what do I mean? And that's the way the conversation began. And she was not happy about it. And 2 years later, I had a situation happen where I asked for some support of her, and she completely lost it. And we had a big argument, and we didn't speak for 9 months after that. And it changed my life in a real positive way, because I realized I didn't need my mother's permission to be who I was going to be. And I think I was probably 24 or 26. 26 or 24, I came out 26, and we stopped speaking. And then 9 months later, I had gotten a TV movie with Justine Bateman called Can You Feel Me Dancing? And I went downtown, because I auditioned for it downtown in Los Angeles, and I went to tell my dad that I'd gotten this part, because they actually told me when I went down to the set. And it was so funny. My dad happened to be speaking to my mom, and they're divorced, so it was just coincidence. And he put us back together. And what's happened is I continually, through the years, I would continually just be myself. I'd call my mom and I'd say, hey, she'd say, what's going on? And I said, well, I went on this audition and I met this guy and I'm not sure he likes me. Oh, I can't talk about that. Well, I love you, Mom, I gotta go, bye. And I just kept being myself. And they just became comfortable with me being me, because that's what I did. I didn't try to hide it and try to be somebody else. I think what happens a lot of times is people will come out and then they won't talk about it anymore. And you had 20-something years of time of figuring out who you are. Now you got to give your parents a little time to adjust the TV set. I mean, I think my parents knew. My mother said, "Well, I didn't know you were having that much sex." I said, "Mom, it's not that much sex." She said, "Well, more than one." I said, "I'm not telling you," because my mother has no boundaries. And now my mother and I are very close, and so are my dad and I. So but I'm old and I'm almost dead. So what does it matter? So what advice would I give to some person who's living in a tiny, teeny little town in the Midwest where there are no gay people? There are gay people there. This is 2009. It's not, you can go on the internet and there's cable television, there's magazines, there's books, there's television shows. We are everywhere. Come out wherever you are. Just remember, when you're out, you're not just out for yourself. You're out for me and I'm out for you. Used to be it was safer to live in the closet. Now when you're in the closet, you're actually hurting your gay brothers and sisters, because we have to bond together so we can, I guess, fight this feeling of people wanting us not to have equal rights. I mean, it's really important that we bond together, and not just gay men, but gay men and women together, and certainly the bisexual and transgender community, which I consider sort of our cousins in this fight of equality, and not just gay marriage, but in all aspects. Well, I came out 16 years ago on the Geraldo show in an episode called Unconventional Comedians. And I'm an actor and a comedian. And at the time it was frightening, and nobody was doing that. There were very few openly gay people in the media in the early 90s. And then a couple of years later, Ellen came out, and everything changed. And because she came out, and even though I know her, but we're not close, I know her in passing, I opened for her a number of times, and we worked together a couple times. I think what it did, having somebody of that that large success risk her entire career to come out, made it okay for me to work. And since then, as a character actor, I've been able to work all the time. I mean, I've done over 100 film and TV shows, and it's still not easy. I have to be honest, it's not totally easy, but it's 10 million times easier than living in the closet. Because when you're in the closet, what's the symbol for that? You're in the closet, the door is closed, you're standing on shoes, there's a big leather jacket on in front of you if you're a gay guy like me. There's hats in the way, and someone opens the door every once in a while and they turn on a light and it flashes on, and then they shut it really quick. How do you know what's going on? You can't, because you're in the closet. You can't see things clearly. So if you're in the closet now, you're only seeing that little flash of light, and then it slams shut. So you really don't know what's going on in life. You don't really get to know who you are, and you don't get to interact with other people. And to me, being openly gay is more important than being in show business. It's more important to be who I am. And I wanted to be an actor more than anything. And I still do. I still love my work. I love my work now more than I did when I was younger because I'm more about the work and what I can accomplish in terms of the art. It's not all about being famous like it was when I was younger. It's more about the quality of what I do. And I mean, people talk, has it hurt my career? I'm sure it has in some ways, but also I've gotten a lot of jobs because I am gay. And there's a lot of people that just don't care. They just want you to be good. And that's what I concentrate on. The people that don't care and the people that just love me because I'm who I am. The people that don't love me, I don't need them.